What's up, my Madden Rebuild Warriors? My name is David, and this is Franchise Revival. Welcome to the abilities video, the much long-awaited abilities video. We were gonna hopefully we were gonna have this out yesterday, but we discovered that Madden really screwed up the playbooks, especially Denver. They just nerfed it. They killed it. No longer the best slot playbook in the game. So that delayed a lot of the research I did, but thankfully a lot of those abilities transferred over to a new playbook, which is like now the new Broncos. So that playbook is the Rams, right? It was our number two favorite slot playbook, um, but now it's the best in my opinion. Way better than the Lions, way better than the Falcons or anything else. Uh, the Bengals, any other playbook that we were messing with, it's the one and the only. And we're going to break records with the ability stacks I'm going to give you. But first, I want to talk about abilities. Um, all right, there's a cold hard truth with abilities and where this video is going to go. I'm not going to be able to give you a video of abilities that universally work across every playbook. Maybe one or two work with a playbook, but these abilities are set to only maximize the Rams. I mean, I wouldn't want to use any other playbook anyway, especially if I'm trying to feed the slot wide receiver. There's no other playbook that now touches the Rams with these abilities. So why would you want to use another playbook? If you want to use another playbook, um, you can just ask me, and maybe we can try to work on it together at another time. When like the Bengals, like, can we maximize Jamar Chase being on the outside with abilities, something like that. So you're not going to get abilities that, especially these stacks that work with other playbooks. Actually, the best thing is, for what I found in my research, was the best thing about it for abilities and other playbooks with feeding the slot and is just no abilities. Just if you want to reset your player to star development, and he's going to do just fine. He might do better if you have the wrong abilities on your player. Having the wrong combinations of abilities, the wrong abilities, um, they will mess up your simulations in QuickSim. It's just the way it is, especially if the wrong abilities. I've seen numbers go backwards. So playbooks like Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Tennessee, they actually improved when I put Amon-Ra St. Brown on star development with no abilities. They actually got better. And I used all these stacks with them. It really didn't matter. Now they improved the Rams, not the Rams. They improved the Broncos a little bit, but still, you're not reaching numbers like you were with Broncos, and you're not going to reach the numbers with the Broncos playbook like you will with the Rams. Some of the playbooks that stayed the same were KC and Indy, all great playbooks, but um, no big changes. So there you go. That's that part. Before I get into the abilities that you should be using in the stacks, let's talk about the abilities I really wouldn't touch no matter the playbook. What you're looking at here is the old stack. This was the stack of all stacks, just a mini stack, but it works so good with the old Broncos playbook. This is just this little stack right here was what accounted for all those yards, receptions, and touchdowns in the Broncos' old playbook before he got nerfed. So rest in peace to Short Out and Acrobat, and that's it. But let's talk about the ones you definitely don't want to use. You don't want to use any of these on the top row here. These like energized type things. These um, things that deal with replenishing health or whatever they are. They don't do jack crap. Reach for it doesn't do anything. I think there was a glitch in last year's Madden where it got a little more extra yards out of you. Honorary lineman didn't do anything. Now, runoff elite, I kind of want to look into because it's on a lot of really good wide receivers. But as far as I know, as it pertains to the Rams, runoff elite does absolutely nothing. Persistent doesn't do anything, in my opinion. Bruiser doesn't do anything. I did see spin cycle do a little bit of increase in numbers, but not enough to really make it into the list. But there was, for some reason, whatever reason, it did kind of increase simulation numbers. Grab and go doesn't do anything. None of these apprentices do anything at all. You're nothing user controlled like jukebox or evasive. So you want to stay away from most of that. And then everything else I didn't name, you can use. And we'll get into the combinations of those because the combinations of them does matter. Certain ones don't work together. One more thing. I want to talk about this season here. The lost season. Why do I call this the lost season? Because I don't know what ability stack was on when I did this. I thought it was Amon Rob with no abilities, just star development, and it was in the Broncos playbook yesterday. I was like, I fixed Broncos. This video is going to be about fixing the Broncos playbook, and the answer was to have no abilities on Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I swear to God, I thought that's what this was. I still think that's what it was. But I've tried to run simulations since then using the Broncos playbook and no abilities on Amon-Ra St. Brown and come nowhere close. I don't understand where this season came from. I don't have anything written down with abilities on him for this. So I think there is a good chance that this is what I got here, over 2,200 receiving yards, is in one of these stacks. And I think it might be in the first one I'm going to talk about. But I'm not sure. I don't know where this season came from. I don't know what playbook I was in. I thought I was in the Broncos. I could have been in the Rams. So, I mean, by looking at the numbers, I probably was in the Rams, and he had abilities. What abilities? I don't know. I don't know. So, it's the lost season. 2,200 yards receiving, 35 touchdowns. I don't know what led to this, but it's possible. All right. Anyway, I just had to talk about this lost season because it just absolutely has drove me nuts trying to recreate whatever got to 2,200 receiving yards. So, without further ado, let's get into the abilities and their stacks that work with the Rams playbook that will turn you into a record breaker with your next wide receiver and your next rebuild. The Rams playbook. All right, so let's talk about the most important step here. The first step is the X Factor ability. This Double Me is by far the best X Factor without question. So you can't start worrying about the 4 superstar abilities until you start worrying about the X Factor abilities. If you're not going to do X Factor, um, just forget about it. Go back to putting your player on star development. So make sure whether they're a wide receiver 1, 2, 3, or a tight end, no matter who's catching the ball in any playbook, Double Me is by far the best X factor. Also, I want to mention here, talking about abilities, all these tests were done with Amon-Ra St. Brown with Double Me X Factor and 4 abilities, and Jared Goff has no abilities. He's star development. It's all like an equation. So if he's going to have abilities, if you're doing it with a Patrick Mahomes, his abilities need to work with your wide receivers' abilities, and they can subtract from each other and not play off each other. Then they can play off each other. So I didn't mess with Jared Goff. This is with Jared Goff with star development. So if these stacks aren't working and your QBs have their own abilities, you got to move them around until it starts working. And you might have to go into a test franchise to see what stacks work, because on a QB that work with your um, wide receiver. I didn't have enough time to do all that because this video would never come out if I had to mess with what abilities for the QBs also work with the abilities for the wide receivers. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Jesus Christ. Let's get into the stacks. Here's a look at numbers you can expect from this stack that I'm going to give you. First, we have Slotomatic. Very important that you pair Slotomatic with Matchup Nightmare. These two are very important. If you don't put these two together, they will not work. Next, you want mid elite. It's kind of a levels thing. You want short, medium, and deep elite is the next ability. Same thing. Here's another simulation example of our next stack. We're going to take short elite and pair with acrobat, mid elite, and deep elite. Same as the last, but you need to make sure that short elite and acrobat are together. Remember, these are just test simulations and numbers may vary. All we're going to do is take out short elite and we're going to put short out elite and pair with acrobat. The rest is the same. Not much changing with this next stack, but we're going to take out deep elite and we're going to put in deep in elite. And this last combination is a new combination. I just found this one, so I'm kind of happy to share it with you. First, we have Matchup Nightmare, Slot-O-Matic, Acrobat, and Route Technician. Please mess with all of these and try to find the right stack for you and mess around with them. I guarantee you one of these will get you the numbers that you want in your rebuild using the Rams playbook. Which one is better than the other? I don't know. Every time you simulate, you get different numbers. They're all over the place. One of them is definitely responsible for the lost season. I don't know which one it is. I think it's the first one, but maybe not. So, in conclusion, Rams playbook. Abilities good, abilities bad. Use the good stacks I gave you. When in doubt, remove all the abilities. Just so we're clear that all these testings were done with Jared Goff, who has no ability. So your quarterback could definitely change the outcome of a season and the numbers your wide receiver is getting. So if you have to, take off his abilities. If you're allowed to. I know some of you are in, leagues that you might not be allowed to edit your players like that. I want to give a clarification on the Vikings post I had. A lot of people thought I was talking about the defense and the offense. Was not talking about the offense whatsoever. I think the Vikings offense actually got nerfed. So stay away from the Vikings offense. It's only about the Vikings defense. That's all I heard. The buzz was the Vikings defense is pretty good. I'm still not sure about that. I just think it might be the Bills is the best now. We'll find out. That's what you guys asked for. You guys want sim defense. So that's the next video I'm going to work on. And if there's something else, you could always ask me, and I will, if it's quick enough, I'll jump right into it and I'll get a video out to you, like my man that asked for what video? The Eagles playbook. So there you go. Strategy wise, with the Broncos, we never really clarified what the strategy was, the weekly training on offense was. The best thing I found was run outside. And then I was also doing run outside, but if deep pass was over 100, I would do deep pass, and that was working pretty good. So we're going to talk about this Broncos rebuild because I just started a season. It's like Micah Medlock's like 10th or 11th season. It's kind of been on hold, and I want to show you what he's done so far in the first 4 games. Him and his quarterback, who has no abilities, have done the first 4 games using one of these stacks. All right, so I want to show you that Micah Medlock has Slot-O-Matic, Matchup Nightmare, Mid Elite, and Deep Elite. His first game, he had 8 receptions, 149 yards, 3 receiving touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. The very next week, he had 8 receptions, 190 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. And the week after that, he had 7 receptions, 130 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Week 4, his quarterback had 5 passing touchdowns with 300 yards. He is on pace for 2,227 yards receiving through 4 weeks, and his quarterback, Paul Heenan, is on pace for 5,287 yards in a season and 72 passing touchdowns. Now, I think the proof is in the pudding already, but I need you guys to go out there immediately and start rebuilding with this playbook and this stack right here. Because, hey, if he's on pace for over 2,200 yards, this is probably the stack of the lost season that I was talking about. I think the Madden EA developer guys did us a favor by nerfing Broncos because now it forces us to get better. And we found stacks that work with the Rams playbook. And I don't think I've ever seen the Broncos on pace to do what the Rams playbook and these abilities are on pace to do. So, sometimes, I'm not going to say when life gives you lemons, you make a lemonade, but, I think we made a pretty good lemonade here. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know how you guys make out. I love hearing, the records you break and the 17-0 seasons and the undefeated seasons and all that stuff that you guys do in your rebuilds. I like hearing about it. I like knowing that it works. And if it's not working, let me know and I'll help you get it to work. Yeah, that's it. I'm glad that I actually didn't release this video last night. I was going to release it after the Rams game, and I fell asleep watching the Ram game, and I'm glad I did because it gave me a clear mind, and I decided to include the test run with Micah Medlock and the Broncos to see how it was working, and I think it proved my point pretty darn good. And I can't wait to get back into this rebuild because it was really, really hurting me what happened last season, and I just didn't know that the Broncos playbook didn't work anymore. So enough of me. Uh, Again, thank you for watching. As always, you guys have been so supportive. My last video had so many comments, and I'll see you in the next video when we discover, break down, find the next best defenses to use in Madden 25. Peace.